This is the tale of Timmy Tiptoes. Once upon a time there was a little fat gray squirrel named Timmy Tiptoes. He and his wife Goody lived in a nest thatched with leaves near the top of the tall tree. "My good little wife," said the prudent Timmy one day, "we must store up some nuts for winter and spring." And so the couple went to the nut thicket, where they found other squirrels already at work. Timmy took off his jacket and hung it on a twig. Then he and Goody worked away quietly by themselves. Every day they picked nuts, then carried them away in bags and stored the bags in hollow tree stumps. When the stumps were filled up, they emptied the bags into an old woodpecker hole in the hollow tree. "How shall we ever get the nuts out again?" worried Goody. "After sleeping through the winter, my love," exclaimed Timmy, "I shall be much thinner in the spring." Timmy and Goody were more careful than some squirrels, who often lose track of their nuts once they bury them in the ground. This was especially true of Silvertail, who was forever forgetting and then digging up someone else's nuts by mistake. This always led to a fight. Just then a flock of birds flew past, searching for caterpillars and spiders. The first bird sang, "Who's been digging up my nuts? Who's been digging up my nuts? Little bit of bread and no cheese." The squirrels in the nut thicket followed and listened, but Timmy and Goody went on with their work. The first bird perched in a bush near them and sang his silly song again. But the other squirrels thought it meant something very bad indeed. They jumped on Timmy, scratching and slapping him, for they thought he was a thief. Timmy turned tail and ran away. The others caught him and dragged him up the tree with the woodpecker hole. The squirrels tried to push Timmy through the hole, but he was too plump, so they left him there half in and half out. Somehow Timmy wiggled through and landed on his own store of nuts. There he lay quite stunned and still. Meanwhile, Goody had gone home. When her husband did not return, she passed an unhappy night. Next day she went back to the thicket, but the other squirrels chased her away, so she wandered all over the woods calling, "Timmy Tiptoes, where, oh, where is my Timmy?" When Timmy awoke, he found himself tucked into a little moss bed. He coughed and groaned, and his ribs hurt. A small striped chipmunk appeared holding a lamp and asked Timmy how he felt. He lent Timmy a nightcap. The house was full of food, of course, because these were the nuts Timmy had picked himself. His host offered him some nuts. "Let me crack them for you," he said, and soon the fat little squirrel was fatter than ever. He wondered how he would ever get out. Goody continued to gather nuts, hiding them under a tree root. This got the attention of a little woman chipmunk. "My husband, Chippy Hackey, has left me. What is the meaning of all these nuts?" she wanted to know. "Beg pardon, but I didn't know anyone lived here," said Goody. "My husband, Timmy Tiptoes, has run away too." "I know where my husband is, for a little bird told me," said the chipmunk. She led Goody to the tree with the hole in it. They heard singing from inside, a fat squirrel voice and a thinner chipmunk voice, and the sound of nuts being cracked. Goody thought of going in, but the chipmunk warned that Chippy Hackey might bite. Then Goody peeped in the hole and called to Timmy. "Is that you, Goody Tiptoes?" her husband asked. He popped his head through the hole and kissed his wife on the snout, but he was too fat to squeeze all the way through. 2 weeks went by, and then a storm blew the top of the tree off and opened up the hole. Timmy Tiptoes came out and went off with his wife under an umbrella. Chippy Hackey stayed behind. He camped out in the wind and rain, though it was ever so uncomfortable. At last a bear came walking through the woods. Perhaps he was looking for nuts, for he sniffed around quite a bit, and so Chippy Hackee decided to run for home in a big hurry. When the little chipmunk got home to his wife, he found he had caught a terrible head cold. He felt even worse than when he had been camping out in the tree trunk. Timmy and Goody Tiptoes have learned an important lesson from their adventures. These days, they keep their store of nuts locked up with a little padlock. And whenever that silly little bird sees a crowd of chipmunks or squirrels and starts singing his silly little song, "Who's been digging up my nuts? Little bit of bread and no cheese." No one with an ounce of good sense ever bothers to answer.